to be the destruction of it, and
the K2 droids.
K2SOs coming in and the probe droids. And I mean,
it was straight like that it was like a freaking, when I saw that, I've thought about this for a long time, because that book came out probably when we were in high school, somewhere around that age. Death Troopers came out, the book.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I don't know. And then I read it and I was like, dang, this kind of works. And then I read Red Harvest, which was the prequel to that. And it kind of shows you how the chemicals and the formula comes to be to create these zombies or whatever.
Right.
And anyways, I was like, man, would that work? Could a fear-based thing work in Star Wars on the live action screen, or even obviously cartoons are for kids, so they wouldn't do animation. I know like some DC cartoons are like for adults, but I don't think Disney would go that way.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But when I saw the Night of 1,000 Tears and I was those freaking terrifying droids and the probe droids, I was like, dude, they could do a Star Wars horror movie for sure. And so, man, it was just I was not prepared for the Mandalorian lore overload that we were going to get. No. And I think that Mando season 3 is just going to take it to a whole nother level.
They mentioned that waterfall. I can't remember the name of it. They meant you
have to bathe in the pools under the mines of Mandalore.
Right. That's going to play a factor in some way.
I'm calling it right now. I called a Crate Dragon before Mandalorian season 2. I swear, you can go back and look at my podcast. We're going to see a Mythosaur Mandalore season 3.
Mythosaur. And I think, later on in this episode, we see Mando train with the armor a little bit with the Darksaber. We see him fight Paz Vizsla for it, which was really cool for, Paz is like, he's got a chip on his shoulder about Mando.
Oh, 100%.
He's like, Mando's right here, Paz is right here, and he's always trying to get that edge on him,
And I think there's an arrogance with the name, right? Because he's part of the Vizsla household. So he's thinking, we're going to return this blade back home where it belongs. And also in my mind, even though they can't have it because of the creed and the children of the way and what their belief system is, but in his heart of hearts, he's closer to a good chunk of the Mandalorians that died the night saving the Mandalorian and Grogu. Right. And since then, apparently, when you go back later in the season 1 of Mandalorian, you go back to the covert and there's just a pile of helmets that have been murdered.
Basically, because of Grogu.
You think those are Dark Troopers that killed all those Mandalorians? Because I don't see it being if the Mandalorians,
not stormtroopers,
like Death Troopers, maybe
Death Troopers,
but I don't know, a covert full of Mandalorians that know where they are. Like one of the most dangerous places you can go to attack someone is in their own home because they know where to go. But anyways, all that to say, in my mind, if I'm Paz Vizsla and this son of a gun shows up with the Darksaber, that he's got some emotions. You don't deserve that, bro. You're the reason we're on this freaking ring and we're pooping off the outside of a ring into space.
Right.
And we could have been back home in the covert we've been living in for however long.
Yeah.
So there's definitely an arrogance, an entitlement, and I think there's some resentment there towards Din Djarin, I would say.
Oh yeah, 100%. I do hope we see that more. I hope we see that resentment continue, and that fuels Din in his own way. And going back to the pools underneath the mines and everything, we do see Din Djarin get kicked out of their clan of 3, and their views are so strong that there's only 2 of them left, and they're willing to kick out the 3rd guy.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
Because he just removed his helmet. And he had to in a sense, but I really believe, and this is a theory that I have, that, Boba is this fake Mandalorian in a sense who doesn't have any respect by Bo-Katan or, really anybody in terms of Mandalore. Din Djarin, who is a Mandalorian in that own creed, in that particular creed, I have a feeling they're going to end up bathing in that pool and becoming true Mandalorians and possibly ruling Mandalore side by side in a sense.
100%. Listen, the Children of the Watch are basically leftover of the Death Watch terrorist group. They literally survived because they happened to be on the moon of Concordia when the Night of 1,000 Tears went down.
Right.
So they're butthurt because they feel guilty because they lived and everybody else they knew died.
Right.
Bo-Katan is a failure and a disgrace and a shame to the title of Mandalorian. Yeah. Whenever she, like, bro, you know how freaking mad I was as a Boba Fett and a Clone Trooper fan when she's like, I've heard your voice 1,000 times. I was like, oh, really, B? I remember you coming in Clone Wars Season 7 and begging for the clones to come save your sorry butt because you couldn't handle your business.
Yeah.
So she's just so freaking stuck up. Oh, my God. I can't.
Yeah, I can't stand her, really. She's... Dude,
in the Clone Wars, she was tolerable.
Yeah, she has like Karen energy.
Oh, 100%, bro. She's Hillary Clinton
she's Bo Karen,
bro.
She
Karen. Thinks that 100%, dude. She's like, we've been around for a million. She's so like, she's got like that Meghan Markle vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like, what has she done? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
She I don't know. It's just, it feels like she's like, you married a prince and now you know what the royal etiquette is. Like,
exactly.
I don't know. It's just, it seems very arrogant and stuck up. And it's like the clones came and literally gave you Mandalore. Like, your people couldn't do it. They gave you back Mandalore and you squandered it.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
Twice, bro. She lost it. And then she's lost it 3 times.
Yeah.
She had it underneath. She was, and here's the other thing. If she wants to talk about loyalty, why was she a part of the Death Watch when Satine was on the throne in the first place?
Yeah, I know.
She has no right, bro. She is the blackest pot calling the kettle black. Like, she is, dude, talk about glass houses throwing stones, bro. I could go on for a million years. She sucks. I hate her.
No, I'm definitely not a Bo fan. She's a Karen, dude. She's a Star Wars.
I would say that the Armorer feels more like a true Mandalorian to me, even though she's a heretic and a part of a crazy creed. Definitely more of a hardcore Mandalorian than Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan seems just more selfish in general. Like, she's definitely in it for some self,
I think she feels bad.
Yeah.
It's self-loathing. Her sister got killed because her group brought in Maul.
Yeah.
That hurts. Then they gave Mandalore back to her at the end of the Clone Wars. Then she lost it to the Empire. Then they won it back during Rebels, and she gets the Darksaber back, bro. She has the Darksaber. And then she loses it again.
Yeah.
She feels bad. Like, she's okay. I'm from Houston, right? And the Houston Rockets could have and should have won a championship years ago when we had Chris Paul and James Harden. And of course, I hate the Golden State Warriors, not because I don't like them, because they play amazing basketball. Steph Curry's the best shooter ever. Draymond Green, one of the greatest role players ever. Klay Thompson's amazing to see him back in the playoffs. The reason I hate those guys is because we lost. It's not because they're actually bad people. It's because we lost.
It's true. That's true.
It's all the Tom Brady haters.
Yeah,
it's because they lost, bro.
You hate us because you ain't us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all of She's Germany after World War II. That's what she is. She's pissed because she got handed back-to-back L's on the worldwide stage.
Damn! Don't tell Katie Sackhoff that.
I think if I could meet Katie, I would shake her hand and say, "You are an amazing actress."
Oh no, she's great. I can't really
stand Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
But it's because she plays the character so well.
She does. She plays, and she seems like a very sweet person for sure.
It's kind of like what's that chick from Game of Thrones?
I can't remember. Emilia Clarke.
No. The one that ended up having to cut her hair and all that stuff.
Cersei, right?
Cersei. Yeah. That woman gets like booed at conventions and stuff.
Yeah.
But she's probably a really
super
sweet lady.
Nice. Yeah.
But Joffrey's character. Like, they always say that Joffrey's actor, the guy that plays him, was like the sweetest guy on set. But when they go places as like a crew to do a convention, or whatever, they all be like, "Boo, Joffrey!" like throwing stuff at him. So it's not. Katie Sackhoff's doing an amazing job, but Bo-Katan as a character sucks.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. So Din's not doing good, man. He's out. He got kicked out of the Creed, and He's a little down in the dumps. I think it's really cool that we get to see him take a charter flight over to Tatooine.
Dude, yes.
And he's got a little kid in front of him, bugging him, and we have to see him take out all his weapons before he gets on and everything, which is such a cool shot just to see all his gear and the little kid on the ship. I love that little detail. Just such a real world detail, you know.
Is it a Rodian?
It's a Rodian, yeah.
Dude. They're so cute when they're little and they grow up to be so freaking ugly.
And their hands are like all big and whatnot.
Yeah, dude. But I thought that was so funny, and it's so like, I don't know, man. I thought that the when he makes him the little chainmail shirt, that was cool. And I thought it was a very neat detail that when she ties it into the little bow, it looks like Grogu.
Yeah.
Frick, that got me, dude. They got me
got me so hard, bro. Got me so
All
hard.
I know is that baby's lucky that Mike Tyson wasn't sitting behind him.
Seriously. For real, dude.
Bro, did you see
I would not want to be getting punched. I would do everything not to piss Mike Tyson off if I was sitting behind him. I don't know what that guy was doing, but
bro, I heard that he was like being like rude and like,
oh, I'm sure.
Like
I'm sure.
Swearing
People
at him.
So rude to celebrities, like.
Bro, Mike Tyson's the one guy that's like,
you don't want to mess with that guy, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike Tyson could go to jail tomorrow and everybody be like, what's up, Mike? Like, nobody's gonna mess with Mike Tyson in jail. He's a legend. Dude. Like he's such a fan favorite, especially of like he's a fighter. So dude, anyways,
this are like legal weapons basically.
Bro.
So
the guy was getting smacked.
Oh,
but so he's in the charter flight, which was so funny. And what's even funnier is he's not even like, he doesn't even look like he's in first class.
Yeah,
like,
he's just like chilling and like
he's on Spirit Airlines, just trying to get there, dude. And I
thought
that was
knee
really
room.
Funny.
He's got no knee room. It's just such a cool detail that, you know, they're always constantly bringing in real life aspects into Star Wars, and that just the kid in front of him, you know, bugging him is just such a funny detail that happens to everybody, you know. And
it's also funny that the mom of the kid, like to the last second, like she eventually is like, like get up here.
Yeah.
But it's funny that it takes like 35 seconds of the kid just being like suction cup hands over the seat.
Hi.
Like, yeah, that's so funny, dude.
Yeah, before the mom does anything. Yeah.
But it's funny because as a parent, like I'm sure the first like 30, 45 minutes of that flight, she was like, stop it. And the kid just kept doing it.
And
it's so funny because as a parent, I'm like, stop doing that. And eventually I'm just like, whatever, they're going to cut their finger off. I got to watch. I got to continue my life. So that was really silly.
Well, we see him pull up to Tatooine, and this is such an interesting part of the entire series, I think, because it, you know, at the beginning of this episode, we're getting a lot of lore from Mandalore, and you know, Mando is making his return. That's where I thought it would kind of cross over back into Boba, you know, and they would right away sort of mesh back into the story. But we have this whole long thing with him building the, you know, they're renovating a Naboo starfighter with Pelimoto. Yeah. And this episode absolutely made me love Peli, and I did not like her before. But
really?
Yeah. Well, it's not that I didn't like her. It was just more like,
you were indifferent.
Whatever. Yeah. Like, but this episode made me fall in love with her, dude. The little Jawas, they're furry.
Yeah.
Dude,
that was so weird that she dated one. I was like, what? That was so crazy.
Didn't even know you could do that. Like,
yeah. It's so funny. She was like, I've dated him before, this and this. Yeah, that was really funny. She has such what's so cool. The Mandalorian and Boba Fett both have done this. And you were saying, I remember maybe in the first episode when you were talking to your girlfriend, you were saying that it's so cool how welcome and excited your girlfriend was, who's not a hardcore Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
That's what's so cool is because like my little kids, like if I turn on like something really crazy, if I watch like the Mortis arc from Clone Wars with my sons, they're like, so what's happening? But with Boba Fett and Mandalorian, like they do it's straight back to the airline's flight, which is so relatable, and Peli's got that personality that's so relatable and so like down to earth.
Yeah.
So it's funny because like my wife, she'll watch it with me, and then when Pelly's on the screen, she's like, "Oh, I love her." Like, it's funny. She has that connecting personality. She's so charming.
She's got a good energy.
Yeah. And the way that she is with Grogu, or like whenever Grogu wasn't there, she was like, "Where's the little guy?" And he's like, "I had to take him back to his kind." And she was like, "Mistake." I thought that was really funny. The pit droids. I love the prequel love we're getting.
Oh, and I hope that in this episode specifically, there was so much prequel love,
so much good stuff. And you have the BD droid from Fallen Order.
Yeah,
his cute little feet when he gets excited.
Yeah,
they did a good job. That was really cool. And I'm not a big video game guy, but I obviously, being a Star Wars fan and a podcaster and things, I try to keep in touch with stuff, and seeing the little the way that in the game BD can show you like a map, or show you like, here, put your lightsaber handle here to turn this in the Jedi Temple, or things like that. It was cool that he was like, it goes here. Like, that was such a good this episode probably did the best job in this whole season of like taking things from every other era of Star Wars, or every other, and then like putting them all together. Like, you're on Tatooine, you're in the hangar from the original trilogy. Like, you've got Fennec Shand, who's a connection to the Bad Batch. You have the pit droids, you have the Starfighter, you've got the Darksaber, you have the Siege of Mandalore, like everything but the sequel trilogy it linked up to. And I do think that the Mandalorian is going to end up taking us somewhere. Like, I remember years ago, they were saying this is going to show us the rise of the First Order.
Right.
Which I don't know how that's going to work, but who knows?
They did say that, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, they said that this is gonna, and this was before we knew like Snoke is a strandcast of Palpatine. Like, all we knew was that the First Order existed, and they said that this is gonna point us to some of those things. So, but yeah, as I hope that in 20 years, we're doing this and getting paid full time for our Star Wars podcasts, and it would be cool to see the fans who are growing up now, like my sons who are growing up with the sequels. I would love to see sequel love in the future.
Yeah.
Like, it's so cool being a kid growing up who, like, for me, and I know this is like heresy, but I love the original trilogy, right? Like, that's some of my best memories with my dad, is going and seeing the original trilogy again in theaters before Phantom Menace came out. But for me growing up, I was like, so why would you watch this if you could watch Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny. And we're going to have kids that we're going to be like, no, that's wrong. But there's going to be kids like my sons who are like, yeah, Revenge of the Sith is cool, but look at Kylo Ren. Like, I don't know. It's going to be so crazy when those moments occur. They're not there yet because we still have all the haters, but they'll come around, I think.
Well, I do think that the sequels have been a complete success in terms of new fans and very young fans as well, because they don't have the walls built up that Star Wars builds you as a fan, like,
right,
that you start to put up because there's lore and canon and all this stuff that you expect out of it. The kids don't care. They just want cool, awesome lightsabers and funny aliens and that sort of thing. And the movies always deliver on that. So I think this episode and the next episode, they do such a crazy job, like you said, of bringing all these aspects and these different areas of Star Wars and all in one 45-minute episode. It's really cool. So we see them build this absolutely sick, hot rod of an N1 starfighter. And that scene of him ripping through it must have been Beggar's Canyon, the whole pod race track, pretty much.
Dude, I know. I was rooting for just give me the whole 15 minutes of the pod race track.
I know, right? Yeah. Or somebody to pull up next to him and try and race him or something like that.
Dude, it would have been sick if let's say, because I think he does pull through. Does he drive through where like the arena is, like where all the fans are watching at some point?
I
can't remember.
He does. He goes through that really like rocky area where there's like rock pillars, sort of.
Yeah.
And, Sebulba's throwing stuff at pod racers and stuff.
It would have been sick if he went through like where the arena is, because they're in that arena and then they just kind of go off into space,
right?
And then they come back around. It would have been cool if he went through there and it was quiet, and the two-headed guy would be like,
hey,
pop their heads up. That would have been sick.
It's Skywalker.
Ooh,
Yeah.
That would have been sick, dude. I would have been hyped.
I love that. So,
but
I mean, dude, that
N1,
scene
like,
itself.
What did you think? Were you, when you saw it, were you like, this isn't going to work? Like, what were your thoughts? Because my first thought was like, oh, freaking that's so sick. I'm so hyped. But my follow-up to thought was like, how's he going to get anything anywhere? You know what I mean?
I really didn't like pay too much mind to the fact that like, he'd have to carry bounties or anything. Cause to me, it seemed like he just needed a ship. Like, and he was expecting a Razor Crest,
that's why he showed up.
He wanted a big ship that was for bounties and everything. But I think this sort of maybe, transitions him and he doesn't need it anymore. Yeah. All he needs is his cockpit and Grogu's little bubble. And people were getting like sort of like antsy about that a little bit. And I was just like, dude, it's whatever. He needed a ship at that moment. So he took that ship,
I think ultimately he's like, his purpose in life is going to pretty quickly in Mandalorian season 3 grow beyond, like, you don't have time to be a bounty hunter if you're ruling all of Mandalore.
Exactly. And you have a son. And you have a son.
And I think that and also, like, dude, if he starts like really being like a high roller, like he rules the whole planet, like if that's really going to be the way that they take this, like he's going to have more than one ship.
Exactly.
Like in Legends,
that's like the rule. Like I was like,
this is just one car, ship. I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes no sense. Like, and in Legends, Boba Fett has Slave 1, and I think he has a ship called Slave 2. Like, I think he has.
Oh, really?
He has more than. I'm gonna look it up right now, but I'm pretty sure he does. And there's also a time where he steals Bossk ship, the Houndstooth, but
the N1 Starfighter is like his Sunday drive, or the motorcycle that you take out, every
you're going
so
down
often.
the coast.
Exactly.
It says there's a Slave 2, a starship owned by Boba Fett. It has the freaking price here, dude. Star Wars is so ridiculous. It cost him 225,000 credits.
Hey,
that's not weird looking, dog.
That's not bad.
But yeah, it's real. I think that he can have another one, or like, you remember in Rebels how they had the Ghost, and then they had was it the Phantom? Was like the little ship,
the little one, yeah.
And then they replaced it with that cool Neimoidian ship halfway through. I can, like, if you have a huge ship that's for hauling a bunch of bullcrap, like, you can definitely have one of those attachments.
Speedy,
you just attach it to the bottom of the other ship.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think as the viewer, a lot of times all we can see is like, oh, a ship is this big. That's as big as a car. Like, the N1 is not the same size as like the Ghost.
Right.
Like, you could have a Ghost, or like a Razor Crest is even kind of small in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Compared to like the Falcon, I feel like it's like half the size. Yeah.
Yeah. You could totally attach that to the underside of like something cool, something big.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, we see him get pulled over, which is really funny. Another sort of just real world sort of thing, And what I think is really cool about this is that it's the pilot that we see in Mandalorian, Carson Teva is his name. And then we see another pilot who is played by the guy who played Luke in the Mandalorian.
He was like the motion capture stand-in guy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Max Lloyd Jones is his name. I thought that was such a cool Easter egg, and I'm not sure if he played him in the follow-up episode, Luke.
No, he didn't. I remember realizing it was different. I looked it up and it was a different actor, I guess.
That's interesting, because I feel like he actually does look like Luke just by himself.
Yeah, it was not getting into next episode too heavily, but I thought that the hair on the newer Luke seemed darker and kind of different looking than Luke from 6, but yeah, I thought that the guy that did Luke in Mandalorian did a great job, and obviously it's not going to be perfect because it's not young Mark Hamill, but I thought the technology, what's so wild is the technology from Mandalorian season 2 to Book of Boba Fett has advanced so much. I thought this guy that did the new one did a good job, but I do think that Max Lloyd Jones seemed a little bit smoother, a little more fluid.
Mm-hmm.
But Mark Hamill's not Han Solo, so I get that. But I thought they both did a good job. There was a line that Luke said about Yoda where it was like, he said something that I was like, that sounds so almost too earthy, like not enough Star Warsy. He said something like his heart was huge, is what he said. And I was like, what? I don't know. It sounded kind of weird coming from Luke Skywalker. Like, if you said that, I'd be like, wow, that's so sweet. But it was just weird hearing it from our favorite space wizard.
Yeah. No, he was definitely, I mean, again, not getting into the next episode, but definitely, you know, he's robotic. I mean, he's a literal robot in a sense. But yeah, I mean, I really like that Max Lloyd Jones guy, and I hope that, you know, maybe we do get to see him in another capacity. So
what is the other guy, the older gentleman with the beard?
Paul, it's Paul something.
What is he famous from? Like, a lot of people were excited, but I didn't know what he was from.
He's from some Canadian show. It's on Netflix. It's about like a convenience store.
What the?
I have no idea what. I have no idea what it's called, but
if it's not about the US of A, I could care less.
No, I don't know if it's based upon Canada. I just know it's like popular in Canada. What is that show?
Because a lot of people were super excited, and I was like, he looks cool. I don't know who that is. But it would be cool, you know, now that we're thinking about the future, it is interesting that character, because he's also the character that tried to recruit Cara Dune.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and she let it. I guess she ended up accepting, but it would be cool. It's interesting that he's right above Tatooine, and we've talked about Cobb Vanth being a great New Republic Ranger.
Right.
It'd be really interesting.
It'd be cool in that for sure. So the series is called Kim's Convenience.
Okay.
And
have you ever heard of that before?
No, but I was right. It was a convenience store, so
nice.
I'm happy about that. My memory appears.
It must be like a comedy or something.
It is. It got canceled recently too, and there was like a big deal about that. But yeah,
this guy's making Disney.
I hope to see. I hope to see more of those Rangers. I really like the pilots, and you know that's such a cool aspect, the New Republic, and how they can fit into the story. But
what's so weird about the New Republic is these guys can't be around for that long.
Yeah.
Because Mon Mothma, for some dumb reason, disbanded the military.
Yeah.
In Bloodlines. Bro, as I was reading that book, I was like, what the freak is she doing?
Yeah.
But I don't know. You just got out of 20 years of imperial slavery, and you just fought your freaking hearts out, and you're like, whew, now that's
we're
done.
Good. We're good.
All the bad guys are gone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess it makes, I don't know. That makes zero sense to not at least have the reserves, dog.
Yeah, no, I mean, have some sort of plan, but
that was wild.
Yeah. Well, we do see, you know, Fennec pulls up and she's like, yo, dude, you want to come work with us? You know, you're our guy. Help. You're our boy. Come be our number 3 guy. And he, you know, it's a little bit of a cliffhanger. And he's like, I got to go see my little buddy first. And episode ends. And I mean, dude, just even talking about it again, it's an absolute whirlwind of an episode. It feels sort of like 2 episodes in one a little bit.
It feels like 2 episodes, and it also feels really fast.
It does. Yeah.
Like, I think, and maybe that's because like the ship building montage is a good chunk of time.
It is.
But it's such a, in the grand scheme of things, like some of these episodes are taking days to play out.
Right.
And this is like
the
Mandalorian thing at the very beginning is like it all happens in one time. Yeah. And then he flies to Tatooine, and then it seems like it's like 24 hours.
Quick, yeah.
So maybe that's why the episode feels quicker, but it definitely stood out. My beef with this from the show from this point out is it feels like the Book of Boba Fett was a 4-episode show.
Yeah.
And then Mandalorian for 2 episodes. And then Boba Fett is in the finale. But we've been away from the plot for so long.
Yeah.
That the hype of like, what the freak are we going to do?
Yeah.
It leaves, you know what I mean? Like, did you ever watch Dragon Ball Z growing up?
No, I didn't. No.
So basically, they present a character that's borderline unbeatable. Like pretty much it's hopeless. This guy's going to take over and destroy the world or whatever. And the thing is that like season 3 or whatever, I think it's the first time that Goku goes Super Saiyan. And I remember watching it and then rewatching it in high school. And I was like, is he going to do it or not? Because it took so freaking long for him to get there. Like literally, like we would go to other places and be like, meanwhile, Vegeta's doing such and such. And then you go back and for like 2 or 3 episodes, dude, Goku's just like trying to get there. And that's what ultimately, by the time he went Super Saiyan, I was like, oh, that's neat. But it would have been cooler if it happened sooner because the anticipation wore off by the time it happened. And it felt like the climax of this story was not as crazy because we were away from that whole story for 2 episodes. And it's not what I don't want to say that I don't like those episodes because I think they're amazing. And I think that they have some amazing stuff in them. Episode 6 in particular has like a freaking like 52 card pickup of all your favorite Star Wars characters.
So crazy.
And, but I don't know. It's just kind of weird. It feels maybe there was too much of a story surrounding Boba Fett to put it just in the Mandalorian season 3, but not enough to have a dedicated show. Like I thought it was weird that they would do 8 episodes per season religiously with the Mandalorian, but then 7 for Boba Fett, but then he only is in 5 of them.
Yeah.
Like there was that meme after episode 6 where it was like, hey, if you pause the Book of Boba Fett episode 6 at this point,
see him.
You can see Boba Fett in the background. I was so mad as a Boba Fett fan because, you know, we're all in group chats and there was a group text I'm in for a fantasy football league I'm a part of. And a guy that I thought was my friend said, man, Boba Fett was okay, but then it got better once the Mandalorian showed up. And I was like, you chose violence today, my friend.
Those are fighting words.
Yeah, dude, for real. And that, I guess that was, and every episode that's on your podcast, that's what they say, but that's what the people have felt, I suppose. I mean, these episodes are like top shelf. Like I really loved them, really enjoyed them. And I can remember going back to bed after waking up and being like, wow, that was so cool. And then one Starfighter, who would have thought? And then laying down and being like, why wasn't Boba Fett in that episode?
Yeah, exactly.
It was just so weird. And I guess I will feel okay about it if we get more Boba Fett, either another season or if he's heavily in the Mandalorian season 3. But if that's the last time we see Boba Fett for a while, I'm going to be a little bit butthurt.
Which I do think is the reason that it was included. I definitely don't think that's the end of Boba. I really hope not. I mean, there's
just so much information out there to like go from at the end. Like the whole thing of like, why does he give a crap about Mos Espa? But that's besides the point. But once he like frees it, the Pikes have to answer to somebody. They never work for themselves. And we said that. We were like, 2 words. You remember that? You're like,
Crimson Dawn. Yep.
Dawn. And I was like, you said it, brother. And then it never freaking happened.
I know, man. I was waiting season 2. I'm just holding out for season 2. I know, because there is so much more. Like there really is.
And maybe like, who knows? Because if it is Crimson Dawn, right, then the reach across the galaxy is far greater and broader than just Tatooine. And maybe that'll pour over into what's going on with the Mandalorian. Maybe they're mining Beskar on Mandalore and selling it, and I don't know. But I hope that there's more. There's so like in the writing, Boba Fett saying, I don't feel he's like, I don't know if I can do this for very long. Like he was willing to protect and to be the leader and the freer or whatever of Mos Espa, the liberator. He stops the drug trade. Like he does a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
But then he's like, I don't really like the whole penguins in Madagascar smile and wave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I wonder if like next season, if there is another one, or in the Mandalorian, if he's like gets cabin fever and just has to get out. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I do think there's going to be.
Yeah, I do think there's going to be a shift in his. I think Cobb's going to take that, like we talked about. I think Cobb's so going to sort of take that over, and Boba's going to just, retire, hopefully, or maybe at least just be there for Mando when he needs it, in a sense. And I really do hope we see Boba ride off into the sunset at some point. Yeah. And he doesn't die or anything on screen. He just sort of just literally just kind of like, I don't know, Gandalf's it or whatever, like just goes off.
What is in your mind, what's your version of that? What does it look like for Boba Fett to ride off into the sunset? Where does he go?
Somewhere on a beach for sure, dude. He's got to be around water, that's for sure. I think a beach is sand and water all in one, so it's like the perfect place. I can literally see Boba at the Polynesian spa just absolutely chilling, dude. Like,
it would be cool if he was like on a beach somewhere. Or I know that they just destroyed a good chunk of the platforms, but it would be wild if you went back to Camino.
Yeah.
That would be wild.
I think Camino's a little depressing, but
Camino, yeah. Maybe that's too much of his dad.
Yeah, that's a little too much water, but
like, yeah, somewhere like that where it like kind of points to his upbringing. In Legends, you know, they did a really great job of, there's a character named Finn Shiza, and he basically passes on the mantle of Mandalore to Boba Fett.
Right.
And the very the last two series and then final novel of the Legends continuity, Legacy of the Force, Fate of the Jedi, and then the final novel is Crucible. He kind of leads the Mandalorians, and it's like whatever's best for them. Like, he's still up to the highest bidder, but he also has a moral code where like he's leading them, and he's learning how to be a granddad, because you meet his granddaughter in those books and things like that.
Right.
So the thing that's interesting about that moment is he has a younger life where he's had a wife and they've had kids, and then they kind of reunite at the end of his life. And in Legends, his big the big target on his back that he had to overcome was, even though he didn't have accelerated aging like the clone troopers, his DNA still didn't hold up in its older age like a normal human being would. So like,
right.
You know, in one of the novels, it's like, I've already had 2 hip replacements. I've already done this. Like, they're deteriorating. And so the sunset for him is he finds the cure for that, and he stays on Mandalore and he rules from there. And then Disney buys Star Wars after Crucible comes out, and he's just existing on Mandalore somewhere. And so in my mind, him meeting Omega could do it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because that's the connection to his father. It's different. It's different than the clones.
It's like his sister almost. Yeah.
It's different because they're the only unaltereds. You know, because his name was Alpha. Like that was his code name before he was named. His code name was Alpha. And she's Omega. And I know that there's obviously other letters in the Greek alphabet or whatever, but I don't think that, I mean, I hope that's Greek. Is that right? Yes. I don't think that there's going to be like a C, D, E, F, G. I think that it's like, there's only 2 ever.
Right.
And she's the last.
Yeah.
I would be cool if they met. I don't think that I don't know. How would you feel about if okay, so the accelerated aging thing, like that's a problem, right? Like people keep talking about Rex going to be in Ahsoka.
Yeah.
But that kind of like, isn't that kind of a cop out? Like, wouldn't he be like a zillion years old? He's already like
super old. Yeah.
He's already freaking old looking in Rebels, which is like 20 years prior.
Yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't make sense. Fan service doesn't make sense sometimes, you know. I don't think Rex would really flashbacks. They're going to do flashbacks. That's what it's going to be.
You think so?
Yeah. He's going to be in it because people want it. And I mean, it would be sick. Yeah. It has to be flashbacks though. Or like you're saying, the accelerated aging. I mean, it just wouldn't make sense.
Maybe they find a cure for it, I guess.
Yeah. Or they find a cure. Yeah.
It's weird because like, if Rebels is like, let's say Rebels is like somewhere near like 5 years before A New Hope or something like that.
Right, yeah.
So if it's 5 years before, and then Empire's 3 years later, that's 8 years. Then Jedi's a year later, that's 9 years. Then 5 more years to the Mandalorian. So that's like, I don't know, 15 years or something like that.
Yeah.
That's so 30. he'd be 30 years. That's 30 more years. And he already looked like 50 or 60.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's in Return of the Jedi, I guess, but I don't know.
I think he might be able to stick around there. I don't know, but
it would be cool.
I guess we'll find out. We'll find out.
How would you feel like it's too much fan service if somehow in Ahsoka or the Mandalorian, because the Mandoverse all like intertwines?
Yeah.
What would you think about, like, okay, we know that the Mandalorian can call on Ahsoka because she's grateful to him for taking care of Grogu and all these other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of have a connection. Then you have Luke, who would be really cool if he got to meet Rex, because that's Anakin's commander or captain or whatever. And then you have Boba Fett, who's also linked to the Mandalorian. Would it be too weird for you as a viewer, as a human being outside of the Star Wars universe, to see Temuera Morrison talk to Temuera Morrison as Rex and Boba Fett?
Whoa, dude, my mind just went like,
because they all kind of connect. If there's the Venn diagram overlaps at some point.
I mean, that just the visual in my mind of Temuera Morrison talking to Temuera Morrison, so funny. But I mean, I think it might be cool. I think it would be a little too weird though. It might be a little.
Wouldn't it be weird?
Yeah, I don't know. I think to somebody who, again, they do make stories that are for the general audience as well as super fans. Mm-hmm. And I think that to the general audience, they'd be like, whoa, what is going on here? Like, I thought this dude was playing Boba Fett. Now he's a Captain Rex or whoever this is.
Right.
But it would be interesting for sure. I like that point, but
I don't know. It would be so, like, I don't know, in a perfect world, like that $20 a month for the hardcore Star Wars fans channel that I'm pushing for.
Yeah.
It would be cool to see, like, if the Bad Batch happens to survive, to see like Temuera Morrison as Hunter and Wrecker and Rex and Boba Fett. Like, that would be freaking wild.
All of
I just want to see. I want to see Wrecker live action. I really want to see that character.
I do want to see those guys live action, but I doubt that'll be a thing. But
so if, let's say, next season's the final season of the Bad Batch, because you can only go so far into the future.
Yeah. With
those characters, who do you think the whole crew survives? Who dies? What do you think? This is completely off topic, but
I hope Tech. If one of them dies, I hope it's Tech.
Why? You don't like Tech?
I mean, it's not that I dislike him. He's just kind of there. Like,
I think
he's the one that I definitely least care for. Like,
the problem with Tech is that Tech does Echo's job, but we have an emotional connection to Echo.
Right. And Echo is way cooler. Like, just even his look and, like, I mean, Echo's like half droid now. He can do all kinds of stuff. Like, Tech is literally he's just Google. Like,
have you seen the Black Series Echo yet?
The Black Series? I don't know. Yeah, actually, yeah, I have.
Dude, his hand, like, you can take his hand out. It's got a claw.
It's got all
you
kinds
can take
of stuff.
the claw hand out and put other things like a wrench or whatever.
Cool. Yeah,
that's pretty sick.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh man, if somebody had to die, okay. I know that we've been talking for a long time, but if you could rank, like, who you don't care, like, obviously Tech's your number one person. Yeah. If he dies, who cares? To, like, don't care to you would shed a tear. What's your ranking if they all had to die?
If we're including Crosshair and Omega,
not including
Omega,
to go. They're not going to kill a child on TV.
No, that's facts. But I mean, just in the sense, it would be probably Omega next, and then probably Crosshair, and then Wrecker, Echo, Hunter. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
I guess I can put Omega first just because she's safe. Like, I can put her out there, but they're not going to kill her.
That's true, yeah.
I would have to agree, like, because Tech is so, it's kind of like if I don't really watch Star Trek, but, like, if a character like Spock died, you'd be like, oh, that sucks. But he's not emotional, so there's not an emotional connection. You would only have the emotional connection of that really upset
other
the
characters.
Other guy.
Yeah, exactly.
So Tech is that character. Tech is the guy that's like, he dies and you're sad because somebody else is sad.
Right.
Man, everybody else is so cool. Crosshair's gonna die for sure, so he can be next.
Facts.
I just think, like, the inhibitor chip had more of an effect on him than he cares to admit, but he's such a jackwagon that he's too cocky to admit that he needs help.
Yeah.
And that pisses me off. So
he wants it to be his own decision.
Yeah. I think that his personality is he always thinks he's had the stuff it takes to be in charge, and he's never been in charge. Right. So now he gets to be in charge. That's
right, exactly.
That's his whole shtick. And so Crosshair. Oh, frick. I have to, man, Echo would really be sad. I'd have to say Echo would be next for me because he's already gotten a second chance and he's gotten more of a story already. That's and true. He needs to run through the fields of Elysium with fives. And true. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Clone Heaven or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
And then up next, honestly, would be Hunter, and I would be the most sad if Wrecker died.
Wrecker's got a big heart. He's a lovey guy. Yeah.
Dude, I just love that. Like, I don't know. I think that he's the character that's like supposed to be this big dumb animal kind of guy, but I think that he's got that because he's so like he's the quote unquote dumb guy. He has that childlike quality to him.
Yeah.
Where like if Wrecker or Hunter died, it would really hurt Omega, and to see a little girl cry would make me sad.
Oh yeah.
So, and I can, but I think that Wrecker will be the character that like he'll do like, you know, they talk about like chickens will like burn alive covering up their hens. Like Wrecker would do that for Omega.
He's going to be the one if it
I
think
he would sacrifice.
Like
I think he would sacrifice himself.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like, it wouldn't be like, imagine how non-emotional it would be if like a building's on fire and Tech's like, I'll cover her.
Oh
my
God.
We'd be like, sick.
I'd be like,
everybody else get out.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, you go.
Hunter, go.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Tech is it's exactly like you're saying. Like, you remember Interstellar, whenever they had that weird refrigerator that was walking around and it was supposed to be a person, and I was like, well, when this thing's going to end up dying, I'm not going to give two craps.
Exactly.
I don't know. I felt like there was more emotion coming from IG-11 than there was Tech, really.
Yeah.
And
I 100% agree. I think
they kind of
I was super sad when IG-11 died.
Dude, for sure.
Yeah.
Bro, I would rather have Bo-Katan have died by those scout troopers and Kuiil lived.
Oh, 100%, dude. Like, screw that Karen. Save my boy Kuiil for sure.
Kuiil, dude, bring him back, dog.
Yeah.
Anyways, we've been going for a long time.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good, man. It's great. I seriously enjoy it, but we have been going for a long time. We sort of capped it off with some Bad Batch talk, which is always fun, but let's give this episode 5 a rating. Remember, you gave episode 4 a 7. So,
oh God, I gotta give this one like a 12, I guess.
Yeah.
No, 5 was really good. Okay, can I give 2 ratings? One as an episode of Star Wars and one as a Book of Boba Fett episode?
Yeah.
Okay. Book of Boba Fett, it's like a 5 because it's contributing to the story, but barely as far as for Boba Fett himself. As an episode of Star Wars, it's like a 9.5.
Yeah.
Like there's if Boba Fett could have been there for something, if the episode could have been 15 minutes longer or 10 minutes longer, and even if it was just like they're in the throne room and there's a briefing and maybe we get 3 minutes of the Mandalorian explaining what he's going through to Boba Fett, and Boba Fett says, "Man, brother, that sucks. Here's what's going here on Tatooine." Like that would have taken it to like a 12 for me. But just that there's that missing element of the main character of that show being in there. But as far as Star Wars goes, it's like a 9.5 for me.
Absolutely. I agree. If an episode of The Mandalorian, if halfway through season 2 of The Mandalorian, all of a sudden Grogu and Mando just weren't in it, like complete left turn in a sense. I mean, people would absolutely hate it. Like, and
right.
I think you're right.
I thought like the Jedi with Ahsoka was like, you got a lot of Ahsoka you got to feel for her being afraid of the future of the Jedi because she's still dealing with the loss of Anakin.
Yeah, exactly.
But you got lots of Ahsoka time. Ahsoka gets to deliver the first live action Thrawn line. So she gets some cool stuff, and she fights, and she
looks
has
super cool. Yeah.
Looks sick. She has the lightsabers. Rosario Dawson does an amazing job. I thought that it was still a good proportion. It still felt like an episode of The Mandalorian. That's my only 100%. Beef with this episode.
I think that's pretty fair. And I think that's a pretty general consensus for a lot of people that aren't just, destroying the series or anything. It's like, it's very, very good Star Wars. And I mean, it knocks your socks off. I mean, that first viewing, especially, but yeah, as an episode of Boba Fett, I would definitely have to give it a more mid rating. But I mean, dude, Din Djarin with the Darksaber, slashing dudes up, cutting them in half. Nothing beats that, and I'll just I'll keep that poster on my wall, whatever I got. And I mean,
I'm excited for whatever. There's gonna have to be like the same way that there was the montage from the N1 being the yellow N1 to the Mandalorian style N1. Yeah. There's gonna be a moment where the Darksaber becomes his thing, or or maybe even the other way around. Like he becomes a true Mandalorian. And I think really I don't want to go on another rant, but I do think that the difference between him and someone like Moff Gideon or Pre Vizsla is those two characters are like, this is mine. This belongs to me. And I think that that mentality, because Din Djarin's not a confident individual, if I had to guess. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He's deadly, but he's not confident.
Right.
Like Boba Fett, whenever they're walking in and the Mandalorian needs help and Bo-Katan kind of waves Din Djarin off.
Yeah.
And Boba Fett goes, come on, we don't need these two. That level of confidence from Boba, that's like, screw them, we'll do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Din Djarin doesn't have that level. And he's going to get there through something, and he'll just be able to throw the Darksaber back and forth between hands.
Dude, I totally agree. I think that's a good point about the confidence thing. He's always looking around and making sure, what's going on. He's not this I don't care who's looking, he's always kind of cautious and very,
he's kind of like Luke on Bespin.
He's more
I know this is who I'm supposed to be, but I don't think I'm there yet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like doing some cool stuff, but the difference between Luke in 5 and Luke in 6 is night and day.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same for Din in seasons 2 and 3, maybe partway through or something like that.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. I agree. Well, it has been awesome to have you on, bro. And I really hope that we can do this again. And we covered so much. I mean, this is definitely the longest episode of the podcast so far. So
we did do 2 though, in our defense. We
did do 2. Episode 4 and 5. I think we did a pretty good job breaking those down. And I really appreciate you being on, man. Chiss Ascendancy Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Go check that out, guys. Josiah, thank you so much, man. And
absolutely.
Is there anything else you want to plug as far as your social media?
Well, okay. So if you go to our page, a lot of times when you see episodes being posted, you'll see the tag for Fett Ventures. Yeah. And that's my Star Wars photography page. And I've been doing remodel at the house, so I haven't been doing as much of that, but that's my photography page. And what I'm trying to do is still the longer podcast style episodes. But as you know, Brody, I've been putting out almost daily reels or shorts, whatever you want to call them, TikToks.
Some clips,
talking about, here's an albino Wookiee you didn't know about. Here's how this character's story was different in Legends and Canon. So I'm doing more of that type of stuff. Cool. Ultimately, my goal is to obviously grow the podcast, grow the following. And I would love to, right now where I'm at, as far as scheduling and finances and things like that, I'm not able to be at Celebration this year. And one of my tickets in was going to be if I get a media pass or if I get the podcast stage, things like that, where at least some of that trip would be covered by the program. So my goal is I would love to do a podcast at Celebration or media badge Celebration, or ultimately, like, even if I have to go to freaking if Austin's doing a Comic-Con here in Texas and they want to have somebody do a hosting there or whatever, but that'd be awesome. But yeah, just check out the podcast. We have longer videos, and then we have those shorter reels and things like that. So that'll be dope.
Awesome, man. Yeah, definitely go check him out, guys. I appreciate you listening. This was a long one, episode 4 and 5 we covered. Next week, we will be doing episode 6 with my buddy Jordan, who is Star Wars Parody on Instagram. Check me out on all the socials, officially Star Wars, officially Simple Man. You can catch the video podcast on YouTube at Brody One Kenobi. You can see our beautiful mugs here, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks, Josiah.
You bet.